Hey guys, Tattoo for You Richard here, and it is time for a Weird Wednesday update. Not really. Today we will not be doing a Weird Wednesday update. I'm actually going to be doing a shout out and an entry to Buddy is having a little contest. Dice Miniature Paint Guy is giving away some basing material, and he wanted you to get down and talk all about your base, not just gravel. He wants to know what you do with your basing, like how you base your miniatures and base everything. So that's what I am going to do today. I'm not going to do a base, but I'm going to show you everything I use and the different types of bases I do, which they're all pretty similar. But yeah, so let's go down. Let's look at my business. Shall we? All right, guys, here we are, table down. Now it's going to go show you. Going to walk through all my different basing first. My typical bases are for the towel, so it's kind of, I gave it this, oh, look at that. Look at the light right there. Anyway, you can kind of see it. I give it like I want a swampy-ish look, like kind of a muddy, gooky stuff in there. Use moss, this stuff, and then this is the first time I use this Battlefield Tuft. It's all right. More of this little lichen stuff. So that's one type of base I do. This one, I mean, it's pretty similar, but from the Eldar, since they're going to be kind of a jungle themed, I wanted to do a bit more rock and wood and stuff like that. And so I use bark, bits of bark broken off. I use this for wood. And I also use the bark for rocks too, just paint it differently. So what I would have added on this is I have dollar store tea. You look at it, it's really good. To me, it's like ground covered. It's like decayed plant material. So it'd be perfect to kind of put in there to kind of give that effect on the bottom, like on the actual ground in here. Like underneath him, like add a little bit of that, and it would give you more of that decayed plant material. Once I get more Eldar and do more with this, I'll have more plant life and have that stuff underneath it with greenery in it too. I use things like granny grading. That's this stuff, which is a cross stitch, that little cross stitch plastic or whatever it is. Pretty much same thing on this. It's got I use gravel and more of that plant stuff. I use this occasionally. Like I recently purchased all that Forge World stuff, so let me turn the camera just a hair, see if I can get a bit of the shadow off of it. Yeah, so the gates I use from Forge World, I use them as like tank traps. They work great, man. You chip them, you cut off these little top flutes, then shave off the little front section here, which is good because it gives you more of that little damage texture like that one. And then just nick it, cut it, gouge it, drill in it, everything like that. And you're going to end up with a nice little effect. Let me get this big daddy up here. You're going to end up with a nice effect like that. Just primed it black and then dry brushed it 2 different shades of gray. Did a heavy dry brush of a darker gray over the black, and then did a light dry brush of a pale blue gray, and then actually I did a white right after that, just a light edging of the white for it. I use sandbags too. Those are pretty cool. I'm actually out now. I used them all. I think I finished up on this base with the last one. Or no, the little samples I did. These guys over here. As a matter of fact, this was the very last one I put on. And then anything I can find out of my bits box. That works great for basing. You know. Again, this goes back to more of that kind of broken textured stuff. Another good thing for basing material is this stuff is your friend. Cork. I have This is the last of the very first sheet. I have 8 sheets. And this is all I have left of the first sheet that I used. So I still have 7 more sheets of this stuff. And it's lasted me quite a while. And what I do is, let me pull this off over here. You can't see this yet because that's going to be next Tuesday. I'll do stuff like this. And once I get all the cork on the base, I'll come back with my gravel mix, and I will dump it on there, and then I'll seal it in place. I'll kind of show you a little example of what I do with it in a minute. I sadly don't have a paper plate over here, which makes me kind of annoys me a little bit. So yeah, so cork is a good friend of yours. I have the different tufts that I picked up. I picked up these from Brush for Hire, and we have mixed green 6mm, and I picked up moss 2mm. So that's what the moss looks like. I really like that. I think it's all I have left is right there. So I'm about to be out of that for a long time. And this stuff I have a whole bunch, because obviously I'm not a super huge fan of it. It's good stuff. It's mixed green, so you got the green and the brown in there, so it's kind of a nice flow to it. Army Painter, I like the way their tufts look. They're really just like outrageous. Again, I had issues pulling them off the backing a little bit. Like they would come apart a lot, and they aren't sticky like the other ones. So you have to use a good amount of glue to get them to stay down. But still, I like them. They're good. They're similar to the mixed greens on this one, and this is called Wasteland Tuft. So yeah, I use that greenery. That's really the only like pre-packaged, legit hobby-related basing material that I use. Everything else, I like to try to find stuff around the house or outdoors is your friend, man. Go out there and pick up rocks and things like that. Works great for basing. Like I said before, bark is awesome for basing material. I love it. I go to the dollar store and I get this lichen stuff. It's really cheap lichen. I have another type that's more dry, but I don't like it because I already noticed, like, I have it on one of my flyer base, and it's all broken apart and it fell apart. But this stuff is awesome. And what I do is I'll take a bunch of it and I'll chop it up to where it's finer. And when I put it on a base, I don't have a base I can show you right now, but pretty much I'll just put a little pile of it there, and then I'll go over it with my glue. I use the alcohol, water, isopropyl alcohol and water, wet it down, and then squirt it with what I do, 60-40 Elmer's glue to water mix. Squirt that on there and let it dry, and it dries really good. I mean, you got some loose parts here, but the rest of this is pretty hard. Seals it really well. That's the same thing I do with my gravel. Like this right here is a mound of gravel. So I remember I showed you it on my town art. If you haven't seen that video, I'm going to do it again now just to kind of show you what I do. I'm going to pause real quick, kind of clean up this mess out of the way and give me a work area. So guys, here we are, table down. We've been table down, silly me. But here we are about to do this little quick basing thing. So what I got here is, I'm going to show you this real fast. I know I've showed you it before, but I'm just going to do it again real quick. I've got my bucket of grit, and this is like my mix of just random stuff, which works great in my opinion. Excuse me. Ugh. And here we have isopropyl alcohol, half with water. And over here we have the PVA Elmer's glue water mix. It's, like I said, I believe I use 60-40, more Elmer's glue than water, but it works great. Oh, snow effects. I do some snow effects, just a little bit. So what I do first on this is actually baking soda. First what I did is baking soda and white paint and Elmer's glue. Mix that all together to like a paste or slightly runny paste. and put it on there, smudge it all on there, all over the place. And then while it's still wet, I'll come back through and I sprinkle baking soda on it. Works out pretty good. Turns out pretty cool for me. I like it. I like it. And also, this is another use of the bark, as well as this guy over here. I got to remount him because he's coming off. Oops, that scared me because I thought he was going to fall off. So yeah, here's another use for the bark. That's just a big hunk of bark. 2 pieces actually. I've got one laying long ways and one coming up. Like I said, he's not even glued on here anymore. He came off, so I need to repair that. But yeah, it's just a hunk of glue. Here's or hunk of bark, 2 hunks of bark, hot glued together, and then everything's primed black. I start with black as my base, and then work up from there. So I did this to black, and then like the light gray dry brush, and then I don't think I went final white on this. I think I just barely lightened the gray a little bit more, and dry brushed it as the final point. Here's more of my bases showing the muddy effect. I put like a varnish, like a gloss varnish in there. I use the Liquitex gloss medium varnish. I think it's Liquitex gloss medium and varnish. I put just a little bit, like I paint that on there to kind of give it this shine to it, so it looks like it's moist. And then I'll do like dry brushes of grays and dark browns and light browns to kind of give it that mud effect, because I want it to look like it's kind of a swampy-esque world on this part. So now back to this, now that I've shown you everything else but this. So what I'll do is I will take and I will just scoop in there a nice scoop of grit, my random grit mix, and then what I'll do is I'll pick spots. I'm gonna do this from through the camera and kind of crane my neck over the camera like a moron, which you can't see, and I'll just dump it on there in spots to kind of fill things in and drop it all over me. If I want to smooth out like a slope, make it not so stair-stepped, I'll do that, where I'll kind of fill it in. Now I'll come through, take my alcohol, and I'll saturate it. And what it'll do is it'll seep down throughout the grit and soak it really good. And then I'll come through with the shake it, the Elmer's glue, and I'll go back over everything. You see what happens when it hits? It spreads. And what that does is it helps kind of lock it and coat it, but it also seeps it down in there so it grabs a hold of everything. And I'm not afraid to put too much on there. I don't. To me, it's fine. But I'll do that all over the whole edge and try to make sure I hit all these different spots. And then what happens when this dries, which I usually give it a day to dry, and when it dries, it will. I've done a mound. I tested it to see how high I can make it. And I mean, like even this one, for example. This here, the cork, there's cork underneath here. So what I did was I did a small mound, glued it, set this on top of it, and then I proceeded just to fill up around it and make a little mound up, because this piece here actually comes down and is flush with the cork. So all that height right there is all that grit. It's just piled up grit, and with the Elmer's glue and to seal it, to soak it through, to soak it down in there. And it's hard, man. I mean, you can push on it. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't flex. It is solid. That is a solid block now of grit. It works amazing. I love it. I mean, I can run miniatures across here. I mean, I'll probably scrape the paint before I chip off any of the grit, honestly. I do occasionally have problems with the large fish tank rock in here. That does on occasion chip off and fall off. But I think it's because there's typically only like a small little point stuck to the base as its kind of foundation. And if you don't have a good foundation, everything's going to fall apart. That is truth. Truth bomb. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's how I do my bases, man. That's the basic material I use, and that's, here's another sample. I broke that off just now. Of my basing. The cat hair is optional. I tend to not like using it, but it just occasionally just shows up there. So yeah, I hope you like this video. It's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be because I'm ridiculous that way. But I want to thank Dice Miniature Paint Guy again. He's a super cool cat. Please check out his channel. He rocks, dude. Does some amazing painting. He's all together. He's fun to watch, dude. He's a really cool cat, man. And then the fact that he was given this stuff and he's giving it back to us. He's gonna give it away. Super cool dude, man. Check him out. I'll leave a link in the descriptions below to his channel as well as the video. And yeah, dude, just give him a check out. I hope you like this video. I'm really working on trying to feel better, guys, so I can get back to rolling good and not sound like a freaking screeching owl. But I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a lovely, lovely, lovely weekend, evening, day, whatever it is. And have a happy nerd life, my friends. See you later.